Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Doug Bliss, and joining me today are Andy Garrett and Iwo Gatan. We're broadcasting from our office at Union Station in downtown Kansas City, so if you hear an occasional train pass by during the webinar, don't worry, it's not your imagination. In a moment, I'll actually be handing off the controls to Andy, and he'll take us through the latest CRM, remote ordering, VMI, and customer portal features. And Ewell is on deck to cover features coming soon for mapping and interactive customizable grids. But for those of you that are new to Web Connect, we've been working in P21 development since 2006, and Web Connect evolved out of those efforts. Web Connect's built from the ground up with P21 in mind, and it's mobile optimized to run on any device that has a browser. So that's smartphones, laptops, Macs, PCs, tablets, just anything that has a browser. It runs real time in your environment against your live P21 data, and it has features in broad categories of remote ordering, CRM, business intelligence, and customer portals. Web Connect does install on a Windows server in your environment, so users on your internal network can use it while they're in the office. And your remote or mobile users access Web Connect from anywhere via whatever security schema you have in place. So that might be a VPN, a firewall, or any other security appliance. If you're looking for a quick and easy way to let your users access their P21 data on their smartphones or tablets for free, you can visit p21connect.com/community and register, and we'll send you the deployment bits, and you can set up community, the free version of Web Connect for yourself. It's a great tool that a lot of P21 shops use as their primary mobility application to get started, and it also serves as a way for shops to test the mobile waters, so to speak, and get some feedback from users on what their longer-term mobility needs might be. The Web Connect full version free trial is for folks that would like to try the full version of Web Connect in their environment against their actual P21 data. It's a great way to evaluate all of the features of Web Connect at your leisure, but with your meaningful data actually in view. If you'd like to see videos for both the free community version and the full version of Web Connect, you can visit our YouTube channel, which is youtube.p21connect.com, and you can also read our blog for more information at p21connect.com/blog. So now I want to get to our tour for today, and I'm going to actually hand over the controls here to Andy. And we will pause a few times throughout to answer questions, so please do send those in to us. And so, Andy, I'm going to go ahead and pass the controls over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doug. So what you're looking at right now is a typical home screen. So I'm logged into Web Connect as an administrator. So what you're seeing is what an administrator in the system would see. But it's pretty much the same thing that any user that logs into the system would see. We have a lot of different roles. There's an administrator role, sales manager role, sales rep role, inside sales rep role, and customer roles. And all of them end up with a home screen, something like this. The data and the capabilities is just a little different depending upon who you are when you log in. For instance, if I was a sales rep, I would see a different chart of daily orders and daily invoices over here. I might have different announcements based on what distribution group I'm in Web Connect. Obviously, the bookmarks would be ones that I set up. This would be my recent history. And more importantly, when I'm looking at orders or invoices or something like that in the system, that's going to be my data in the system. But beyond that, it's going to be pretty similar. So on the left is our main navigation menu. There are a lot of different things you can get to from here. You can drill down to things to maybe get to an order summary or an invoice summary, something along those lines. Or perhaps I want to look up an inventory item. This would be one way that I could get to that information. Also, from the main home page, there are some quick links, and these are also available on all the pages. Things that take me back to my home page, By the way, you can set up a lot of different pages in Web Connect as your personal home page. So maybe there's a different screen in the system you want to land on every time you log in. You can also get to quick adds. So this is where quickly you could add a new opportunity or a new sales call, create a new prospect, a new task, things like that. And then my bookmarks are also available on every page. To the far right, I'll have a little indicator of alerts. So if I have an alert that comes from the Web Connect alert system, this would turn orange. You would see the number of open alerts that I have dismissed over to the right. Beyond that is a quick sales call button. I'll be showing you how this works in more detail here in just a little while, but it's basically a quick way to make a sales call. And some of my system tools for my personal settings. I can change some settings here, such as my avatar, or I can change the look and feel of the system. I can choose a different theme if I want to. I can also turn cost and profit on or off. I can sign out of the system. This is also where I might switch to the mobile views specifically designed for the phone. And since I'm an admin, I can see some information about the Web Connect system, such as what version it is, and also what version of V21 I'm running, that kind of things like that. Also included on this home screen is a quick tab for remote orders. So if you're using the remote order system in Web Connect, you'll get kind of a summary of the Web Connect orders that are sitting out in the system. If I were a sales rep, these would only be remote orders for my customers. And a quick summary of that information over to the right. And some quick links that get me to some of the things that we'd go to for remote order the most, like creating a new remote order or a new quick order, which is our VMI tool. Beyond that, the third tab over is our CRM tool. Again, quick links to CRM features. Plus, in the middle, these are my open tasks. I assign myself a lot of tasks and never complete them in my demo system, so I have a ton of them. Hopefully, your reps would have fewer than this to work with or contend with. Beyond that is a quick opportunity summary. So this shows me all the opportunities that I have in the system right now. If I want to, I can factor the success probability, and it'll show me the change really quickly. I can also look at, in my case, since I'm logged in as an app, a quick chart of my ops by rep. The reps would also get ops by type, opportunities by stage, and opportunities by step. There are actually a couple of much neater ways to look at this in some detail pages. We will definitely be touching on those here in just a few minutes. Also wanted to show you, this system does, as Doug said, refactor for a mobile device on the fly. So if I were to shrink this screen down, everything would kind of change around. I'll kind of show you what that looks like on an iPhone emulator that I've got. These are the actual native mobile views. So if any of you out there use the community version, you might think that these look familiar. They are very, very similar. There are a few additional features. Notice the CRM tab where I can get to opportunities and tasks. Also the new button, which is not in the community version, which lets me create new prospects, new opportunities, new sales calls, and new tasks. But if I want to, I can go ahead and show you real quick what the full version looks like on a mobile device as well. So this is my same home screen, and you can see that I've got a lot of my quick links and my charts. Things are just refactored in order to fit on your screen. You will get a little warning up here, or a little advice thing to switch to the mobile views. If you really want to work in the full version of the system at this point, you can close that, and it'll remember that you actually just want to be here. At any point, you could, of course, just go back to the mobile views. So from this point, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of take us through a typical sales rep day usage type of thing. So if I'm a sales rep, probably one of the first things that I'm going to do when I log into the system is check my calendar. So to get there, I just go to my main left menu, go to CRM, and select Calendar. So this is a calendar of all of the tasks and opportunities and sales calls that are in the system. Now, right now, since I'm logged in as an admin, I'm seeing everyone's. But if I was a sales rep, I would just see data that's pertinent to me. So at this point, if I wanted to check and see what this opportunity is all about, the opportunity next step dates are in orange. The anticipated close dates are in green, sales calls are in red, and just regular tasks in the system are in blue. So if I want to see more information about this task, I can click on the button. It'll give me a pop-up and it'll say what the sales call is. It's a task. It's assigned to me, by me. It's to call, and if I want to click on this button, it'll actually take me to the task details in Web Connect where I can work on it, maybe complete it, go from there. Same thing with an opportunity. If I click on that, I can see more information. Lets me see all that stuff very quickly. Also, if I want to create a new task or a new opportunity or something like that, click on a date. It'll take me to a quick dialogue that'll start a wizard that'll let me actually create one of those things from here. Other things that I can do actually on this screen, say I need to move this sales call for whatever reason, I can drag it over and add it to a different day. Notice when I did, it pops up and says I have 2 more on this day because there's more than will fill up that date. It gives me a neat little pop-up to let me see that information. So it's a nice interactive calendar and lets you quickly and easily organize things. From this point, if I'm a sales rep, especially if it's like on a Monday, or if I'm trying to figure out where I might want to have some opportunities for another sale or to increase my productivity, I might go to a tool like sales analysis. So I'll show you how that works real quick. This is one of the tools that we have in the system that lets you see hopefully glean out a lot of information that can help you improve your productivity. So it's under the invoices menu, and it's basically an analytical view of invoice sales. So I'll go to sales analysis. The default view for sales analysis is to simply run it for 3 months worth of sales. And since I'm an admin, my default view is to run it as sales rep. I'm going to run it as customer. I'll show you the 3-month view just for fun. It just gives me 3 months worth of sales and totals them off to the right, plus also gives me column totals down at the bottom. Probably a neater way to view this same data would be a 24-month comparison. So what that's going to do is that's going to show me the same customer sales with the prior 12 months as compared to the current 12 months. So if I'm looking at that, I can scan up and down this listing and look for customers that I may be losing sales over in this rolling 24-month cycle. So I see several that are in red on the screen. One of them that kind of jumps out to me, though, is Chotkeys here. Chotkeys over the rolling 24 months, their prior 12 months was at $163,000 in sales, and the current 12 months is in 119. That's a loss of about $44,000. So from here, I might want to try to look and see, well, specifically, what am I losing at Chotkeys? How is this happening? So what I can do is I can come over to my customer listing and search for Chotkeys. If I know the customer ID, which I guess I could just look at it, I could type it in, or I could just type in Chot right here, and it'll bring up a customer search dialog. I can select Chotkeys and then recalculate this information. Right now I'm running it as customer, but I think I want to run this by product group real quick. So if I run it by product group, I can now see, well, where am I losing sales at Chotkeys? So I can scan up and down here, and it looks like I'm losing sales in liquid undercoat. So that's very, very interesting to me. So I'm wondering why. Now maybe the sales rep knows. Maybe maybe your organization is not selling liquid undercoat, or not, or maybe you've replaced it with something different, or maybe the sales rep knows that this customer has stopped buying this for some reason. But more often than not, it's a complete mystery. Especially when you look at a customer, and this happens from time to time, where their overall production is staying the same or going up a little bit, they can still lose sales in a particular product group, and fairly dramatically. And there may be some reason that's happening at the customer. You may be being underbid by a different supplier on the thing, or the customer may have forgotten that they can even buy the thing from you. Maybe they got a different purchasing person or something like that. So from here, what I think I might do if I'm a sales rep is actually go take a peek at Chotkeys overall. And the way I do that is I can go to my main menu, and I can go to customers, and I can go to my customer lookup from here. Another way to do that is just off my top menu, which is available on every page, and just go to customers. That's what I'm going to do. So from here, I get a listing of all the customers that are assigned to me in the system. If I'm a sales rep, I'm going to search for Chotkeys real quick, C-H-O-T, and there they are. And from here, I can see some interesting information. Remember how I was saying that you might have a customer that it looks pretty good on the outside? Well, these are actually a year-over-year comparison of orders. Now, my database is backdated a little bit. So these are complete 2013 orders. They had $130,000 worth. And in 2014, so far to date, they've had $39,000 worth of orders. And if we take the number of days left in the year, that actually comes out to, do some math, that comes to about 132,000. So from this view, they look like they're doing okay, maybe a plus about $1,300. Not great, but about level, something like that. So I'm going to drill down to the details of this customer and take a little deeper look with my sales analysis information in mind. So I come over here and I get some basic information about the customer just from right here. For one thing, I can see the last hard touch date, and in our case, that's the last time a task was submitted for these guys that was actually completed as a hard touch. I can see the date right here. If I want to, I can click on it and actually open up that task and see exactly what that was all about. But 2014, that's actually quite a while back, so it's been a while since we've been out to see them. So here's their address. The phone number is clickable. If I want to get a map, I can do that from here. You can see their credit information. Their credit status is good. The highest credit limit they've ever used is $170,000. Looks like the current credit limit is of $21,000. Okay, basic information here. It looks like they're paying okay. Over here, if you open up this capability for your sales reps, they could actually adjust the customer classes. You can turn that on or off on a per user basis if you want to. But anyway, from here I'm going to jump into sales and do some analysis. So let's look at analytics first. So sales analytics, this gives me that rolling 24 months, but in this case, instead of it being of invoices like it was on the invoice sales analysis, this is actually of orders. So I can see the prior year in red and the current year in blue. And if I look at the roll over this, this is the total dollar orders, this is the total dollar profit, and then the final column on the right is total profit percent. Profit percent has, it was a little bit higher in the prior year. You can see the red is higher than the blue. So we've lowered our profit a little bit this year, but not appreciably much. And the profit is pretty good, sitting around 30% on these guys. But if I look at every month going down here, if I'm looking at my comparison, I'm looking at a negative order difference somehow in this thing. So that's interesting to me. So from here, I can actually do this product group, this order product group comparison. So instead of it invoices, this is orders. And I can scan up and down this thing again, and sure as heck, here it is, liquid, undercoat liquid here again. I can see from an order standpoint, they're actually down $71,000 over the prior year. So that's interesting to me. I definitely have an issue there. From here, I can also look at item summary. So this is a neat view. This from any beginning point in time, I can basically see what their highest volume of item sales are from a dollar standpoint, all the way down to the lowest. So I can get some idea of what are the main items that this customer is buying. Other things that I can do from this screen, I can look at their latest orders and invoices. Something that's probably more important if I'm a sales rep is actually look at open orders, because this is 9 times out of 10 what a customer may be calling me about. So I click on open orders. It'll bring a listing back, and in this case, I only have one open order. It's for about $350. It has this little icon on it, this little orange guy with the 1. That indicates there's one either back order, special, or direct on this thing. So if I want to, from here, I can go ahead and look at this order. And as you can see, you'd see a lot of the things you normally want to see on an order, all the required dates, that kind of stuff, the ship to information, the validation status, its other statuses, the line items. This back order is highlighted in yellow, so I can easily see which one it is. There are things I can do on here to find a lot of information, like pick tickets. I can see sales reps, any tasks associated with this order. From here, I can actually create a new task if I wanted to. Any opportunities associated with this order, again, I can create a new op. Work on the notes, so as long as the order is not completed, I can do notes and things. Look at a little bit of customer information, and again, look at open orders from here. So anyway, I'll go back to the customer details screen and go from here again. The next tab over is aging. So I'm looking at their aging. They look pretty good. They got a little bit over here in the yellow, but nothing that I'm terribly upset about. They don't have anything at 61 to 90 or over 90. So I think like they're pretty healthy as far as the way they're paying, at least. A little bit in the yellow, but not too bad. Addresses. From here, I can actually get to the customer address. Right now, it looks like my admin account is set up to where I can actually edit this address. So if I wanted to, directly from Web Connect, I could edit this customer address. Typically, my recommendation is to not turn on this feature for sales reps, unless it's a sales rep you really trust. This permission can be changed or split between customers and prospects. So it's possible in Web Connect to allow sales reps to create prospects and edit prospect addresses, but not edit live customer addresses. So once that prospect is converted into a customer inside of Profit 21, they would no longer be able to edit the address. That way accounting doesn't get mad when their invoices don't show up at the right place for some reason because the sales rep edited it. I can also get to all my ship tos here. This guy has always got about a dozen ship tos. And if I wanted to, I could drill down to each ship to and look and see what their production looks like, things like that. I can get to contacts. This is a very helpful screen. Not only can you view all the contacts that are here, you can actually create a new contact by clicking on this button if you grant your sales reps that permission. You can also drill down to a contact detail. So if I want to see more about Elizabeth Combs here, I can select her, and maybe I want to add a salutation, so it's Miss. And maybe I want to check the address and phone. So if I have a home number, that kind of stuff, I can add it. Email addresses, maybe I want to flesh that a little bit. Maybe I want to get a birthday or an anniversary. Maybe I find out her birthday is the 19th. That's fine. I can also associate this contact to marketing campaigns if I want to. So if I don't have any, but I could add one of them to a marketing campaign if I wanted to. Another thing that I can do, notice up here, no last hard touch date found. So as far as the system is concerned, we've never talked to this person. Might be neat to have a task for them. Another thing that I can do, I can delete this contact. It's not a hard delete. It's basically just going to flag them as deleted inside of P21. So if I do that and save and return and go back to my contacts, she'll be gone. But I can always include deleted. And if I do that, where did she go? I should be able to find her. I must have clicked on something. Did I save her? Yeah, anyway, you can undelete them from here as well. So let me go back to that customer at this point. Other things that I can do on this screen, I can see any open tasks for this customer, and there are not any. And I can also look at any open opportunities. And there are 3 open opportunities, and that's kind of interesting for me. It looks like the one with the next step date all the way to 6/30/2016. That's a pretty recent opportunity in my system. And I can also get to customer notes. So from here, if I needed to add a new note or edit one of the existing notes, I could definitely do that from here. Well, since I've looked at this customer a little bit, and we know a little bit about what's going on with the product group of undercoat liquid undercoat, I might want to go ahead and pencil in myself to give them a call. Just do a sales call on them. Well, I could go through the main menu system, go to CRM, and go to a new sales call here. A very quick way to do this, if you're on the customer detail screen, is just click the phone icon at the top. This will open up what's called a quick call button screen. And since I'm on the customer detail screens, it knows I'm talking about hotkeys right here. So in this case, I'm not going to make this one completed. I'm going to leave the subject to sales call, or actually I'll change that. I'm going to change that to undercoat liquid stuff, just so I know what that is. Call type, I think I'm going to make this a visit, and I'm just going to schedule it right now just to pencil it in for the 29th, and I'm going to make it for, let's call them pretty early in the morning. Let's see if we can't call them somewhere around 9:30 a.m. Put a little comment in here too. The undercoat liquid PG is falling. I know what that means, so when I come back and look at this, I can see it anytime I want to. So I'll go ahead and save that. Oops, I've required that I put contacts on my sales calls when I'm in Web Connect. So I do need to go ahead and select contact. I'll search for one real quick, and I'll go ahead and grab these guys at hotkeys real quick, Doug, and save this guy up. So my call is saved. And so just real quick, I'll go ahead and show you what that does show up on my calendar now. So I'll go to CRM and go back to my calendar. I can see that that's going to be on here. I think I put it on the 30th. No, here it is. I put it on the 29th for undercoat liquid. So I can pop it up, and here's my sales call that I just scheduled for myself. So I actually want to go at this point and kind of show you a little bit. I mentioned this as a sales call. So I kind of need to explain what a sales call is inside of Web Connect. A sales call inside of Web Connect is the same thing as a task inside of P21. We've just added some additional capabilities to it. So to kind of demonstrate what that is, let me go to my CRM module, and I'm going to go to call log setup. What we let you do is we let you take any kind of task type, an activity type inside of P21, and say that these are associated with sales calls, and these are the ones we're going to use for sales calls. So the ones that I have right now penciled in to be sales calls are a call, which makes sense, customer, demo, and visit. But these could be any of your actual task types that you have in P21. Once I have those set up, they show up in a neat place in our CRM called the sales call log. So if I want to look at that, I can go to my actual sales call log right here. And if I go down to here, I can find, here's this new sales call that I just set up. I've got it set up, it's assigned to me, admin, as a visit, and I've got it set up to be on 6/29/2016. I can see it's for Chotkeys. Here's the title of it, here's the phone number, here's the contact I'm going to see. And this is an interesting column over here. It's got a dollar amount of 0. P21 tasks don't have a dollar amount, so we extended Web Connect to allow you to assign product groups to a sales call so that you can value them. That comes in handy later on if you're an admin or a sales manager or even a sales rep to try to get a handle on what are your more important or valuable sales calls. And it also helps you kind of see the progression of sales calls to opportunities, which I'll show you in just a minute. So let me go ahead and open up the sales call inside of Web Connect so you can see kind of what it does here. So this is the actual full sales call screen. It's not the small one up here. This is the one where you'd actually maybe flesh the sales call out a little bit more, finish the sales call if it's a scheduled sales call, and sometimes if a customer calls in, this is a neat place to actually record what you talked about. So this screen is pretty interesting because from here I can get to customer notes, which are important because I know it's a sales call and it has to do with the customer. I can see all the other tasks that are associated with them. So in this case, there's only one task. It's the one that I'm working on right now. I can see all the customer contacts again. And again, kind of like on the customer details screen, we've made this editable. So if I need to, I can come through here actually and edit one of these contacts, maybe get a new cell number or change their title, something along those lines. It's really easy to do. Or maybe I'm getting ready to work on this sales call and I find out Doug Valdez is no longer there. I could actually go through here and add a new sales contact if I wanted to. And maybe that's the person I'm going to be contacting today. You can also take a look at all the ship to, so maybe I'm going to meet Doug over here at this Chotkeys Plant 12. So this is my basic information of a sales call. I mentioned the product groups, so I'll show you how that works real quick. So I know we'll be talking about undercoat liquids, so let me go look at that real quick. I'll come back here. Undercoat liquids. So I select that guy, and I know they're down about $50,000, let's say, in sale or in invoice sales on that thing. So I'm going to go ahead and put $50,000 in here. I'm going to note down here, down in sales. Okay. I'm going to add this guy in. So now I've got a placeholder for that. So let me show you what that looks like back over in the sales call log. So if I go back now and look at Chotkeys, I can see that I have a sales call here and it has a $50,000 value potentially on this guy. What's really neat is if you're a sales rep or an admin sales manager, whoever you may be working with the system, if you want to filter this sales call log, you can actually filter it by your product groups out here. So if I want to see, well, what are my sales going to be in air guns, or what are my sales calls having to do with air guns? Maybe I've got a big campaign where we're trying to sell air guns right now. I can select that, refilter my calls, and I can see, yep, I have 2 sales calls out there right now relating to air guns. And by the way, this is the value just for that product group because you can add more than one product group for a sales call. So, excuse me, the total call volume or value may be quite a bit higher, but this is the $15,000 that's just for air guns on this thing. So now that I've got kind of shown you that real quick here, I can go back here and incomplete calls, all that kind of stuff. Menu, back to my call log here. So I'm going to go back to my Chotkeys call that I'm working on and show you kind of another neat feature here real quick that makes it kind of interesting. Having to do with opportunities. Actually, I'm going to put that off for just a second. See, Doug, do we have any questions out there at this point?
Yes, we do have a couple of questions. Let's see. The first question is, as far as writing data, reading data to the P21 database. Talk about, I guess, the question is about any sync process. Is it really real time, or is there some kind of a synchronization?
No, for the most part, everything's going to be real time in this. So when I write a contact or edit a contact or do something, I'll create a prospect, that data goes into P21 or is updated immediately. So It's almost like you're working with an extension of the system.
Okay. The next one has to do with the ICE product.
Okay.
And the question is Web Connect supposed to be a replacement for ICE? And I think my answer to that one, when ICE first came out, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I think there was a big push by Epicor for it to do a number of things to allow P21 shops to build a lot of things on their own for folks to access P21 data. I will say that my impression, having been to Insights a couple of months ago, I didn't see ICE in any sessions there, so I don't really know what the roadmap is for that product. You probably want to contact your Epicor rep to confirm, but I wouldn't. Basically, Web Connect, as you go through this, you'll see there's a lot that it does out of the box, so to speak, that if you were able to use a product like ICE, I'm not sure how far you could take it towards what Web Connect does. So that's a long-winded way of saying, no, I don't think it's a direct replacement. To the extent there might be some reporting capabilities in ICE, there might be a place for both in your environment, but that's probably something you'll have to kind of answer yourself. Let me take one more, Andy, and then we can move forward here. There's quite a few. I will pause a couple of more times, though. Let's see. The question is, is there a relationship, I guess, in terms of a sales manager role and sales reps? I guess describe how that relationship is maintained or utilized in Web Connect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sales managers in Web Connect are mapped to sales reps inside of Web Connect specifically. So you can create as many sales managers as you want, and as you create them, you can assign as many sales reps to them as you want, and you can assign the same sales rep to multiple sales managers if you want to. Once you create that relationship inside of Web Connect, when you're creating or working with the sales manager setup, then that sales manager will have visibility to all that sales reps, opportunities, tasks, orders, invoices, all of that information, calendar. So that's exactly how that works.
Okay, and maybe we can hit one more here, okay, since we covered this topic early on. The contacts, the question is, the contacts you were showing earlier, again, are those P21 contacts, or are they somehow stored in Web Connect? And so do you have to have 2 sets of contacts, or is it kind of one-stop shopping?
No. It's all of this is P21 data. I think that's very important because it's really difficult to maintain 2 different sets of contacts because you run into which one wins in the edit world. So you might end up with a contact that the sales rep has made a change to, but in P21 they've made a slightly different change to. So which one's right? And it's difficult to find that information out. So no, we definitely use the stuff that's inside of P21, and that's what we keep updated.
Okay. Well, we've got a few more questions queued up, but let's hold off on those for just a moment, and we'll hit that list here in a bit.
Okay. Well, great. I think the next thing I'm going to do is show another tool, or show the use of another tool that we have inside the system as it relates to this sales call. So let's say I'm getting ready to actually make the sales call. I've got it scheduled. I'm going to go see them on the day that's made for the sales. One thing I might want to do is go to a tool we have in here called Ship-To Mapper. So what this does is this lets me go out and find Ship-Tos and then see their relationship on a map to other Ship-Tos. So what I can do is I can select customers and prospects. Both. I'm going to do both of those. And then I think what I'm going to do is right now just search for hotkeys. Shot right here, because this is the guy I'm going to go see. So this is hotkeys out here, and I'm particularly going to see I don't have, actually don't have the one I was actually wanting to look at on this listing. It's a different customer that actually set up this. I'm just going to show a different customer. I'm going to show you how the tool works, and then we can look at hotkeys in a different way on this thing. So if I go here, I just want to demonstrate how the ship to mapper works. Some of my addresses aren't real addresses, and I think hotkeys is one of those that will have a difficult time actually pulling up on the map. So in this case, I'll go ahead and grab just this zip code, 64013. Let's say I was going to be calling in this area. So I can put in my 64013, and I can search for that guy, both customers and prospects, within a 30-mile radius. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring back anybody that's within that 30-mile radius of this particular ship to. So in this case, I can actually plot them on a map. And Ewell actually a little later on is going to show some very interesting stuff that we're working with on maps that even extend this power more. But in relationships to making a sales call, sometimes it's nice to know who else is in the same area as the person I'm going to be calling on. So imagine that this is my hotkey ship to right here, and in this case it's not, it's A.B. Jones really. And this is the guy I'm calling on. I can see that I've got several other clients around here. So just as a productivity tool, if I'm a sales rep, let's say I'm not really based out of Kansas City, I'm based out of Topeka over here or something, but I'll be making the trip. Who else can I go see when I'm seeing hotkeys on my list here? This will let you see that very easily. So from here you can get view the ship to detail, get a map link, all that kind of information. So that's just a really neat thing to be able to do while you're looking stuff up. So one of the things I kind of wanted to show that I would probably do in preparation for this sales call, or maybe I'm making the sales call and I'm talking to the customer and they're asking about stuff, is I'm probably going to need to look up inventory at some point. So Web Connect allows you to do that through our item inquiry page. So in this case, I can go pop over here to item inquiry, and I'm talking to the customer. We're talking about this undercoat liquid. They had completely forgotten that we carried it. They're interested in pricing on stuff. They're trying to figure all this out. They'd love to buy everything from us because they have our customer portal and they can see everything that they buy inside of that. It's a neat thing. So I'm going to go ahead over here and I'm going to look up my undercoat liquid stuff. I think that's what it is, undercoat. Dang it, product groups, undercoat liquid. Select that guy. And here's all the items that I have in here under undercoat liquid. I can also search for this, and I don't have to search by product group, so I can start say, well, I know that the undercoat liquid I'm looking for is a drum of some kind, so I can go ahead and type that in, drum, and it'll further limit my stuff down. And if I need to, I could limit it. I know the item ID starts with a 79, so I start with a 79, and now I get down to these guys right in here. So it's this guy right here, this 7960 55-gallon drum. At this point, I can drill down to the detail on this guy and get some more information. So from here, I can see what I've got on hand. I got 13 drums on hand, 55 gallons. I can see inflows and outflows. We threw in column pricing. May not be beneficial to you, but it might be some basic costing information. By the way, you can turn off costing and profit systemically for your sales reps if you need to do that. See the open POs that we have out here? That can be very nice. See the latest orders in the system that we have for this item? Oh, and look at there's hotkeys. Interesting. Invoice history is the same thing. Open orders, this can be really handy. A different use case for this is if, let's say a customer calls you and they say, you know that order I've got with the BR549 on there, I don't know the order number. Yeah, you go look up the BR549 and go look at the open orders, and you'll be able to find it in there, and then go look at the open order without having to scour through all the other items on here. We also show bin and lot information if you guys are using that. Subs, this is a really handy tool. If you're out of stock on a particular inventory item, you have subs set up, you can definitely go look at things from here. And then a really nice feature is the ability to get a price. So in this case, we're talking to hotkeys. They want to know what the pricing on these things are, so we can just basically go through here and look at hotkeys again. Plant 10, just grab a ship 2. It looks like for the 55-gallon drum, it's 447.097, so 447.10. So what about per gallon? Yeah, here it's $8.13 a gallon. We may not even sell it in a gallon to them, but they usually buy a drum anyway. But what if I got 50 of those? Well, 50 of those is going to be $22,000. Well, I might need 50 of those a month. You know, what kind of deal can you work with me on that if I need 50 of those a month now that I think we're going to really start buying those from you again? Well, this is where you would probably use another feature of Web Connect that's really pretty powerful, and it works in conjunction. It helps you build a sales pipeline. Remember that we have this sales call over here in our call log. I can get to it through CRM over here, or I can go through my sales call log for my quick link. I'll just use my quick link right here. So I've got this sales call that I'm working on. Maybe I just got through making it, and I have it set as about $50,000 here. And I can open this guy back up, and I look at my product groups, and it's got the undercoat liquid on it. And from here I can say, you know, this is more than a sales call now. This has actually turned into a real opportunity. These guys really want to start buying these things from us. They want 50 drums of this stuff a month. So I'm going to go ahead and click New Opportunity, and this will start the process of building a brand new opportunity in the system for me. If I were a sales rep, I wouldn't have to do this, but since I'm an admin, I do have to assign this to my sales rep, Kenneth Pittman. If I wanted to, I can select the territory, lead source. In fact, I will select the lead source as a sales rep generated. The type, I'm going to call it manufacturing automotive just for fun right now. Its status is active. Stage is in stage 1, gather info, but I could put it in a different stage if I wanted to. Step is, we really don't need to get samples, so I can maybe put quote on here if I want to. Next step date, just go ahead and say for fun, just put something on here, the 13th. Anticipated close, July 31st. Undercoat liquid is falling. These are my notes from the original call, so I'm going to add to this. Met with Doug, wish I could type Doug, and they are ready to buy more of this from us. Yay. So from here, I'm going to hit the next button, and it'll take me to the full opportunity detail screen, brings all my information over, and I've got a brand new live opportunity. So one more time, I'm going to take you and show you the call log to show you what that does real quick. So if I go to my sales call log and I look at this sales call, I can now see that it was a $50,000 opportunity. It's now got sales call. It now has an opportunity for undercoat liquid associated with this one. In my mind, this was a successful sales call at this point. So it makes it really handy to be able to work with things like that. Were there any other questions that you needed to run through, Doug?
Yeah, we do have a couple of others, if you'd like to pause for that for a moment.
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead if you want.
Sure. Let's see. Let's hit on a couple here. One question was, back to the sales manager role. Is the sales manager role in Web Connect different from the role for sales manager in P21?
Yes, actually it is. That's a good question. There is a hierarchy inside of P21 in order to build those. We started to use that when we first built the system, and we just could not make that hierarchy work very well in regards to the way the data flows. So we actually abandoned it and went to a way of mapping sales reps to sales managers, more specifically inside of Web Connect. It's very easy to do. It makes it a lot easier to work with. You can easily move them around, so if you need to set up a different sales manager and set up the same sales rep under different managers faster and move them around very quickly, you can do that without affecting the way P21 is set up.
Okay, great. And there's actually a few questions that are touching on the ability to place orders and do quotes, and I know you're about to cover some of those items here in your next section.
Yeah.
So I'll hold off on those. I will hit one here, more of a technical question. Is Web Connect hosted in the cloud, or can we run it in our own environment directly with our data? And yeah, kind of back to that earlier slide in the presentation. Web Connect does actually install in your environment, so you have that complete control of it. Your data stays on premise. So hopefully that answers that. Go ahead.
Cool. I wanted to show something real quick that has to do with the sales call stuff and how it relates to opportunities and sales. I should show you a management view that a sales manager or an admin would have of this same information that we're looking at right now. It's under sales reps. It's called the sales rep activity summary. So what this is a listing of all the sales reps in my system, and it's going to show the total number of scheduled sales calls and their call value, the total number of completed sales calls and their call value, and for the same time frame that's defined up here, total dollars and quotes, orders, invoices, and opportunities. So the idea is as you're building, as your reps are building their sales call logs and recording them, or you're assigning sales calls out if that's the workflow you want to use, that you'll start to see these compile over here. And as they compile, they can go ahead and you can see the workflow between a scheduled sales call, completed sales call, and hopefully changes in volume and orders and invoices and opportunities. So just wanted to point that out real quick. Now that we have created this opportunity, I think it's a good opportunity for me to actually go and look at the opportunity listing. So from here, I'm going to go back to CRM, and I'm going to go to my opportunity screen. What this is a listing of all the opportunities in Profit 21 since I'm an admin. If I were a sales rep, again, this would just be opportunities for me in the system. And we've done some pretty interesting things to the opportunity summary I kind of wanted to explain for you real quick. We've changed the listing actually fairly recently, if anyone has seen the listing in the past. We've kind of condensed all the particulars to the left over here. We put what stage it's in directly on the listing as well. The step, if it's not assigned to a step, we will warn you about that so that you can hopefully keep your steps in sync and put the next step date and stuff in here. This part is really interesting. The more I work with opportunities, the more I think that an opportunity doesn't feel like it's very live to me unless it has at least one open task assigned to it. To me, that's even more important than the steps of an opportunity. A task in P21 is an action item. It's something that could be completed. A step in an opportunity can just be assigned, but it can't even really be assigned to a specific person, where a task can be. So what we do in the listing is we show the next task due date, the total number of tasks that are open, who the next task is assigned to, and what that task is. So if I scale down through here, if I look for hotkeys in my opportunity listing, I would still see that one task that's on the system for a sales call because I didn't complete it. I can see that it's assigned to me. But from there, I can actually queue up new tasks. Maybe I want to assign a task to purchasing, and that's the next thing that has to be done before we can generate a quote, something like that. That's where I would see that information to kind of see who's up next, who's got to get something done before we can move this opportunity further down the line. From this screen, I can do all kinds of filtering. Again, I can filter by rep, who it's assigned to, which is slightly different. I can filter by sources, types, stages, statuses, steps, all that kind of stuff, which is very, very nice. I can also, if I want to, show completed opportunities, that kind of stuff. This is actually a new optional feature that we've added, which lets us automatically roll off opportunities that we kind of will say are dormant. And you can kind of configure some things in the system to define what a dormant opportunity is. Worked with a lot of clients out there that have built up a whole bunch of opportunities that just kind of went stale after a while. They're out there, they're 2 or 3 years old, no one's acting on them. We built kind of a neat algorithm to identify those and just kind of roll them off the book so you don't have to look at them, so you can concentrate on what's good. Other neat views for the opportunities that are in the system, one of my favorites is the forecast view. So the forecast view will basically take all of my opportunities and put them in buckets based on this ending date here. So I can see, you know, I'm really just concerned about anything for the next 12 months that we may have coming through. So here are all of my opportunities. Here are the ones that are in my calculated dormant phase. So these are ones that haven't been touched in my system for, I think it's 3 months, something along those lines. Here are the opportunities that aren't dormant, but are just past due. They have a next step date or an anticipated close, well, in this case it's an anticipated close date that's earlier than June 2016. So I need to look at those at some point, what happened to them. If I want to look at them, I can actually open those guys up, and I can see all my past due ops right here. So I can take action on those guys if I want to. And then I can see everything in my buckets that are sitting here. If I don't want to see my dormant ones because I just want to see the graph a little bit better, I can exclude those, and here's a better chart of that based on anticipated close date. I can also, if I really want to, go ahead and look at this by next step date instead of anticipated close date. And in this case, it changes the chart around a little bit, but I can see the difference in that if I want to. And just like most of the screens in the system, when it deals with opportunities, I can do some filtering if I want to. So if I want to filter by a specific sales rep and see what they look like, or a different opportunity type. So maybe I do want to see just what my manufacturing automotive pipeline looks like, or forecast timing. I can get to there and see, well, December looks like a big month for me on that kind of stuff. So it's a neat tool. It really helps you get kind of a handle on where you may be hopefully seeing sales increase and things like that. Another neat view for opportunities, if I'm working with them, is our pipeline view. This may be my favorite view of opportunities in the system. When you set up your opportunities in Profit 21 and the whole tracking mechanism for them, you can set up stages. And stages have sequences, and they can also have a default success probability. So what we do is we actually take all of our ops and put them on cards and put them underneath their different stages. So imagine you're going to have a sales meeting if you're a sales manager, because I'm seeing all of the opportunities for all the reps right now, and we're going to just talk about all of our opportunities. If I want to, I can filter by a specific sales rep. See, Kenneth, let's look at your opportunities. You can work with them from here. You can say, okay, what do we have to do to get this guy that's over here in quote to at least demo? Great. So maybe then I check Kurt Gregory and see where his ops are. His are a little bit different. It just makes it really easy to work with here. But what's really neat about it is we've added the ability to basically easily move these guys from stage to stage. So if I want to take this opportunity and move it from samples, I talk to the sales rep, we're in the meeting, he says, oh, no, I'm doing a demo for them next week. Aha, let's just drag it over here. And when I do that, it automatically, notice our success probability went from down here at 10% all the way up to 65% here. And that's going to change my factored total opportunities up here at the top, which is really neat because you can get in the meeting and start moving things forward and see where they're really going. Again, all of these do drill down, so if I want to open up one of these opportunities, I can. Just pop it open, takes me to the opportunity details. So very, very handy, easy tool to work with. So let's say that we were working with that Chotkeys opportunity we had just a few minutes ago. So I think I have to remember who I assigned that to. I believe I assigned that to Kenneth Pittman. Let's see if I can find that. And I believe we put it in stage 1. Here it is, undercoat liquid. So let's say I'm working with this undercoat liquid opportunity here. Things are going really well. Got my contacts all put in, although I didn't really put any contacts in at this point. Got everything set up on this thing. Excuse me. And now the customer says, you know, it's time to actually have a quote. You know, the first thing I'm actually going to do, now that I think about this, I am going to create a new task. I'm going to assign a task to purchasing, get pricing on stuff. You can see I've used that before. And I'm going to assign that to Mark, my purchasing guy. And I need that completed by the 4th. And I can put some notes down in here. We need pricing. I'm just doing this to show that this is the natural progression, hopefully, of when you're working with opportunities of how this stuff works. I can save that, and now my opportunity has been updated, and I should have new tasks and stuff associated with it. But one of the tools that I may want to do, once I have my pricing information back and everything, is I may actually want to generate a quote for an item or two for this customer directly from the Web Connect system. So the way I do that is I can just take my little plus arrow here and go to New Remote Order. The remote ordering system in Web Connect is pretty powerful and has a ton of different options that you can set and a bunch of different permissions that you can assign to each user. I think I pretty much set mine wide open so I can do a lot of stuff, so I can demonstrate a lot of things, but you would actually have the ability, if you wanted to lock down a user so they can only do quotes, so that they won't come in approved. You can turn off the RMA functionality, that kind of thing. But I'm just going to go ahead and start this remote quote for Chotkeys right now. So I'll type in CHOT, find Chotkeys here. Let's grab one of their ship twos. We'll do ship 2 for right now. And at this point, if I want to, I can just go ahead and start adding item IDs. So I'm going to try a T20. We'll search for stuff out here. And I have no idea if this is in the right product group or anything like that. This is just for demo purposes anyway. A pack of those. Take those guys in. And you can see that I can just go through here and add order items. If you grant permission, you can actually make it to where your reps can change the price, or you can turn that off on a per user basis as well. So the scenario there is if you've got a brand new sales rep, or you don't want your reps in the field to ever modify pricing, you want that to have to come from management, you would just turn off the ability to edit pricing here. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. Another neat way to add items to this order, actually the faster way, is the bulkhead section. So you can do this in a couple of different ways. If you're using job contract pricing, you can add directly from the contract. These guys don't have a contract. But you can also add from order history. So in this case, I can go find, and here's some undercoding stuff. Let's add some of that for fun. 2 of these and 1 of these. The idea being that the customer is probably ordering things that they've ordered in the past. It just makes it a lot faster to be able to add these items in. So it'll tell me it added the 3 items. Now my order is up to $8,240. Come back to my order and take a look at all these items that are on here. I can also do some neat things by adding items from quick order forms, which we haven't touched on as of yet, but they're kind of a VMI way to add items to an order. And you can also import items from a file. This is a really powerful way to do it. So imagine that you've got a spreadsheet. All we really need to import an item to this order is the item ID. Options are also the quantity, which to me would be pretty useful to know, but it is optional. We'll assume 1 if no one puts a quantity in. And the unit of measure is also optional. If you don't put a unit of measure in, we're going to go find the default sales unit for this item. So in this case, I'll go ahead and bring in a quick file that I put together. Here's one that's valid. But you can also, it'll validate these imports as you work with them. So in this case, I'm just going to grab this guy real quick, and here's all the items that were on that import. So here's several items. I can uncheck if I don't want to import these. It shows the quantity, unit of measure. If the UOM was wrong, it'd tell me the validation message here. If someone put foo in for a quantity, well, that's not a real quantity. It wouldn't let me bring that in either. And if the item ID doesn't line up with the P21 item ID, it will invalidate that. So to add them, I just add the ones that I've selected. My order total goes up, and I can continue to work with it and move from there. When I'm ready to send it in, all I have to do is click the confirm button. By the way, you can actually turn off the ability for a sales rep to confirm this order. Also, keep in mind that this same form with several less options is available to customer logins if you want to grant customers access to this. Give them more of a business-oriented way to place orders, almost like they've got their own little mini remote version of P21 to place orders with you if you want to do that. So I'll go ahead and confirm this just to say that I've sent it. And it says, are you sure you want to send it in for import? I say, okay. And it goes and looks at the order format for a while and says, okay, it's sent. And there it went. There are some other things you can do that are kind of interesting with these orders. For instance, notice I didn't put a PO number on here on this other order. If the customer is set up in P21 to require a PO, it won't let me send it unless I put a PO number on here. However, it's also possible on a per user basis to say, hey, every order you send in must have a PO number on it. And that way, even if the customer is not set up to require a PO number in P21, every time this user goes to place an order, they have to put a PO number on it. So just some neat things like that you can do with an order as you go. You know, I've already talked for an hour. I can't believe it. I haven't even got to the quick order system. There's so much more to show. Any other questions out there, Doug?
Yes, there are a couple of more questions, and let's see. Oh, and it looks like you may have answered one. In fact, I think you did. The question is, can you convert the opportunity into a quote? So the answer is yes, you just did that.
Yeah, I went through the process of just manually doing it. But yeah, there is a tool where you can't directly convert the opportunity into a quote because even though we're storing product groups inside of the opportunity, we're not storing specific item IDs in there. But there is a way from within the opportunity you can just click on a new remote order, and it'll bring over the customer information and start up the remote order for you. It saves you a couple of steps.
Okay. Let's see. The question about pricing, is pricing live, and does it follow the P21 pricing rules?
Yes. Pricing is live and works price engine, strategic pricing, last margin pricing, contract pricing, and I think I'm probably leaving out several other options that are possible. But yeah, it's all P21 stuff.
Okay. And you may have covered this, but can quotes be emailed?
Yes, absolutely. So let's say I'm working with this quote at this point, and I haven't sent it anywhere at this point. I can actually go to my menu option and click email, and from here I can just put in a subject and put in some description at the top. Now I would need to email it to a contact that's been added to this remote order. I haven't added one yet, so let me go do that real quick. I can either add a main contact here, so I'll go search, and I want to select Greg Smith, and he's now the contact on the order, the primary one. Now if I go to menu and email, Greg Smith is available as someone that I can shoot an email out with this quote on it, or order in this case.
Okay. And let's see, one more question, and then we're ready to pass it on to Ewell.
Sounds good.
Let's see, I guess the question relates to letting customers log into Web Connect. So what can customers do? For example, what types of things can they do or not do as a customer role? So I don't know if you just want to impersonate one real quick and give a 60-second glance at that. I guess the short answer is they can do a subset of what maybe a typical sales rep can do.
Yeah, a customer can do a lot of stuff. Again, all the information is just about their account. Yeah, I will do that. Make long story short here, there's a single button on here that I can click to log in as this customer, so I'll do that. Pop him open. And you notice that the customer screen, the home screen, looks a lot like my sales rep screen. Again, the data is just filtered for this customer account. They can have distribution groups, so you can send them announcements, that kind of stuff. They can interact with the remote order system if you want them to be able to do that. They have pretty much all the keys to the kingdom. The differences are they can't change prices on orders, thankfully. They don't see profit. They don't see cost. They can look up inventory items in the item search stuff, but they can't see some of the things like lots, bins, costing, open POs, that kind of stuff in the inventory system. And there's some other limitations that just make sense. You don't want them to be able to do. But for the most part, they can do pretty much anything they need to do within the system.
Okay, great. Well, there's a few more questions, and I know we're going to pause at least once more, but why don't we go ahead then and pass it to Ewell. Ewell is going to be showing a preview of a couple of really cool features coming out soon in Web Connect, and so I will pass the controls over to Ewell.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Andy.
Well, hi everyone. I'm going to show you guys a couple of new features that we're going to be releasing towards the end of the summer. The three main features I'm going to be showing are our customizable grid and some expanded functionality within the mapping features. So what you're currently looking at is our new invoicing grid that's going to exist for exploring data throughout Web Connect. So with this grid, you get significantly more functionality with your ability to filter, with your ability to sort, your ability to export to Excel. So for example, we were talking about Chotskys, and so I have my invoice grid sorted on Chotskys. I can say I want to search for Chotskys or any customer name that contains CHOT if I wanted, and I would bring back that data. And let's say I want to sort by invoice date. So similarly to Excel, I can just use the header columns to be able to do all of that information. Let's say I want to look for a very specific invoice number, so I can enter 1033469 and bring back that specific invoice. So as I'm working through, it allows me to quickly move through the data and find exactly what I'm looking for. Or if I want to view a wider view of the information, I can start paging through throughout the data and find it. All of my columns are resizable, similarly to Excel. I can move them around as I need to be able to sort through and look through that information. If I wanted to, for example, in this case, look at not just unpaid invoices, I can view all invoices and look at that information. I also have things like profitability on here, net sales, amount due, and other information. I can also export this directly to Excel, and so what that will give me is an Excel document with all of the data that I have loaded and I just exported 339,000 Excel documents or rows, so it's going to take a quick minute. But it allows me to get that information. If the gridding that we have is not 100% perfect for some of the analytical things that we're doing, we can use Excel to jump through that information. The cool feature for our more technically savvy administrators is you will have direct access to the SQL that builds this grid. So, different organizations want to view information differently. They might want to have additional columns that show relevant information to their organization, and it gives them the ability to edit the SQL directly and update it, and so that you can have your sales rep view the information that they need to view. So the other option that we have on this is we have our column security tab that gives you the ability to show and hide different columns based on who is logged in. So you might want your sales reps to not be able to view profit, and you might want your customers to be able to view certain other information. Or you might have your senior sales reps be able to view certain types of information versus others. And you can also assign customized grids to individual users and individual roles. So you might say, all my sales reps view this type of invoicing grid, and all my customers view this type of invoicing grid. So it gives you a lot more functionality and the ability to control what you are seeing and navigate the system as you need. And then I'm going to show you the export real quick. So since I wasn't able to get it last time, and you get all of the information that you get pre-filtered like you had it down in an Excel file, so that you can play with it as you need. So this is a great tool that is coming forward, and we're going to have all of our grids being able to be manipulated, and we're also going to be able to push out exploratory data from that perspective. So the next function I'm going to jump into is our routing function. It's an expansion of our ship to, and it really gives the ability for a sales rep trying to plan his day and hit multiple ship to locations and trying to figure out, okay, what is the best route to take, physically trying to get there. And so our ship to router allows you to enter a beginning, starting address, allows you to enter an ending address. And so in this case, I'm doing our corporate address and then my home address because I know I'm going to go home right afterwards. And then I can start searching for the ship to that I want to visit. So let's say we're working 123 warehouse. Okay, I know I want to visit that one. Okay, it builds me the initial mapping. I want to go to a couple more places. I know I want to go to 123 warehousing .5 because I know they are buying a couple things. And so then it will reformat and tell me, okay, you really should go to .5 first before you go to .1 because that's going to be the one that's going to reduce your total mileage and total time drive. And if I scroll further down, I have all of the information and the distances and times between each of these locations. So as I'm trying to call and schedule and plan with my customers about visiting them and talking to them about the different products and do my different sales calls, I can have that information readily available. I can print it off and read it and be able to schedule and push through. So this is a really useful functionality. From here, you can select the Ship to Detail, and it will take you to the Ship to Detail page, where you get all the relevant information that Andy showed you earlier, so that you can log your sales call and do all of those things. And you can keep going further and build it out as far as you need to go. The last functionality that I'm showing today is our mapping analytics. The mapping analytics, the idea behind it is, how can we visually represent how our customers are doing? And so I'm using dummy data that Epicor provides us. But what we're seeing here is revenue last year compared to this year. And this is functionality we're going to expand out significantly to provide profitability, to provide the ability to filter on product groups, customer types, etc. But what you're seeing here is okay, last year compared to this year, year to date, I want to be able to color code and see on a map how specific customers are doing. And so how I have it formatted is if they're down more than 2%, I want to see them in red. If they are up 2%, I want to see them in green. And if they're anywhere in between, I want to see them in yellow. And why this is useful is as I'm looking at the map, I can see, wow, I definitely have something going on in the Midwest that's really interesting. So if I click into it, I see, okay, this is where 123 Warehousing is located. And I see that, wow, they're down almost 20% this year. And so why is that? That's where we would jump from here into the shift to detail and do analytics with that sales analysis tool. And it gives us the ability to quickly scan the horizon and see who's down and who's up and what are we doing there that is succeeding or not failing. We can get it quickly and view of it. And why this is important is, you might have your geographic areas distinctly divided, and this gives us quick information on, okay, is pricing higher in a certain area, or has a new competitor entered a market that we don't know about? And that relevant drill down information that we have can trigger us to dig deeper, which is kind of the most relevant thing that you need for your sales rep. What's important and what do I need to work on? Down here you have the information that you're seeing above. You can get the relevant information when you click and read. Okay, this is Allied Biscuit. They're up 133% in this case. And then you can also get that same information down here. You can export it out and get that relevant information on an Excel document. So these are new functionalities that we're seeing. These are interesting previews into a whole expanded suite that we're going to be pushing into. The analytics that we're going to get is providing relevant information at an appropriate time with the ability to customize what that relevant information is.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Ewa.
We have time just for a few questions that popped up during that. Let's see. First question is there anything that needs to be installed component-wise to support some of the things you've shown?
No, all of it comes within our software suite. We will install all the APIs and everything that you need for this to work.
Okay. Second question has to do with export options for, I guess it would be for the grid. I think you showed Excel. Are there any other export options is the question. So I don't know if that means CSV or something, but.
Yeah, so there's the ability to export to Excel, CSV, and PDF. So all of the kind of relevant formats to get the information that you need. Great
okay.
question.
Let's see, I'm going to hit two more. The first one has to do with the ability to customize the grids. The question is any limits on being able to create a number of custom grids for perhaps different users, or what's kind of the plan for that moving forward?
So it will be all unlimited and open for you to customize and push out as you need the relevant information. So we hope to use it as a navigation tool, but also an analytical tool. What do I need to be working on? So that's what your sales reps will be able to answer with some of our dynamic data.
So if you had a specific use case where a rep or sales manager or whatever role needed a particular view of the data, then that can be rolled up and made available.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because sometimes finding information within Profit 21 can be a bit difficult. What this allows you to do is pinpoint that information and give your sales reps that filtered view of what they need to answer.
Right. And, sorry,
go ahead,
to just interject, on that same note, we could build views of invoices that are canned or orders or whatever they may be, but what Ewell is working on developing right now is a way for you to build a very specific set of data that may be used for one user. I mean, a use case may be if you want to look at invoice data for a specific type of product group that only is sold in a specific region, and you want to save that view and be able to use that over and over again, you can do that without having to go through our more rigid ways.
Okay. And then the last thing I would add to that is the ability to use external data outside of Profit 21 and Web Connect and connect that information into our dynamic grids. So you might have external data that sits in an active database somewhere that you might want ported in to Web Connect. And what this allows you to do, since as long as it's connected up to the SQL Server, this allows you to get that information in here and put it in front of the relevant sales rep.
Good point. So we're not, a lot of P21 shops have built a number of different interfaces and homegrown applications, and so this brings that into view as well. Last question, of course, is this looks great. When's it going to be available? And I guess the answer is we're planning a summer release, and the big launch, so to speak, will be at the User Group Connect show in Arizona in September.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yep, that sounds exactly
okay.
Right. Yep.
There are a number of other questions. Some back, Andy, on your segment. I just wanted to hit on one or two, and then we'll call it a day. One of the questions was the ability to control user accounts, what they can see, what they can do. And so, yes, there is an entire user management system that we didn't spend a lot of time in today, but you do have an abundance of control over what users can see and do across all modules in Web Connect. Question is allowing quotes and, I guess, allowing orders to flow into P21. So in other words, can we bring them in as quotes or unapproved? And the answer is yes. So there might be a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want live orders going into P21. And that's yet again another permission you can even set at the user level if you'd like to limit certain users to only be able to send in quotes versus live orders or unapproved. So lots of capability there. And how about just one more? There's a question about ordering, and they're calling these stored lists. So just kind of speak to it, I guess, a little bit. The ability to sort of build a stored list. I guess in our world we call that a quick order form. And so for things that they or their customers might frequently reuse, or maybe there's a VMI hook here too.
Yeah, absolutely. The Web Connect quick order system, frankly, could be an entire webinar in itself, but it's a VMI type tool where basically you can go through and build a representation of items that a customer either buys repetitively or in a lot of cases are actually you're servicing at a customer's location. So you would go to a ship to and you would do counts and you would keep them in stock of inventory items. The quick order solution is exactly what that's for. It offers a ridiculous amount of power and settings and things that you can do that make working with that really, really easily. If whoever answers that question, give us a call and I'll be happy to give you a walkthrough on that part of the system.
Absolutely, and also to check our YouTube channel. I think it was in May, perhaps. We actually did a remote ordering walkthrough. There's a few new features since then, but if you want a quick glimpse, visit the YouTube channel, or as Andy suggests, get in touch with us, and we can walk through that in much more depth.
Yep.
Okay, well, we have reached the end of our time today, and as I said, we do have a lot more questions in the queue, so if your question didn't get answered, do email us at info@p21connect.com. If you would like to schedule a more personalized or a detailed demo, please also email us. Also, if you are attending the P21 User Group Conference in September in Arizona this year, please visit our booth. It's a great conference. We highly recommend it, so do stop by if you're there. And also wanted to mention a recording of today's webinar will also be available in our YouTube channel. So thanks again, Andy and Ewell, and for everyone who attended today, and have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Doug.